evening, Metal Faithful. It is I, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. Tonight we are reviewing You're Welcome from the movie Moana. No. We are reviewing the new album from A Day to Remember, You're Welcome, which came out on March 5th, 2021. You're Welcome is the 7th studio album by American rock band A Day to Remember. It's the band's first release under the major label, my daughter's favorite rock label, Fueled by Ramen.
Nice.
After spending 6 years as an independent band with assistance from Epitaph Records for the distribution of Bad Vibrations. After leaving and the eventual lawsuit against former label Victory Records, the album is also the first new release by the band in 5 years, marking the longest gap between two albums in their entire career. The album was produced by Colin Britton and vocalist Jerry McKinnon. It was preceded by 5 singles: Degenerates, which was released on August 20th of 2019, Resentment, November 22nd, 2019, Mind Reader, April 15th of 2020, Brick Wall, November 18th, 2020, and Everything We Need, January 27th, 2021. Joining me to discuss A Day to Remember, you love him, you know him, you want to be his child too, everyone's favorite disappointed dad, Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Oh, disappointment all day long. Well,
Disapproving Dad, that was your nickname, damn it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this disapproving dad. Yeah, I am the disapproving dad. I do disapprove quite a bit. Disapproved about 5 minutes ago. My kids will know it as soon as I get done with this podcast. I will let them know that I disapprove. Trust me.
And then Poppy put out, I disagree. Jesse Starcher's putting it out, I disapprove.
It's just like she has music to scream to. I have music to sigh to. It's...
That's hilarious. So how much do you know about A Day to Remember? Is this yet another one that I've plucked from obscurity? You're like, I don't know who the fuck these people are.
I do not recognize these guys at all. They've obviously been around for quite a while, but this is the first time that I actually have heard of them. So, yeah, you plucked this one out, and I was like, let's do it. I'm always willing to give something new a try. As we get into it, it sounds like something my daughter may have listened to in passing. Mm-hmm. So there is a possibility that I may have heard them before and just didn't recognize it. But yeah, these guys are way off my radar.
So musically, You're Welcome has been described as pop punk, pop rock, and metalcore, which is kind of in my wheelhouse. It's funny because I think I brought this up on the show before, but somebody made a remark about when we had that whole chat tangent about mathcore. No, it was Nintendo Core. When we were talking about Nintendo, no, mathcore is when you pissed off like the
I was going to say that's when we really made some people upset. So
I went on to this whole like wiki rabbit hole on Nintendo Core, and that produced a conversation amongst the other podcasters that I work with in the chat that we're all in regarding a bunch of different Nintendo Core bands, and I apparently had struck a nerve because one of them was associated with the Scott Pilgrim game, and there was a comment made about, oh, I don't know if you'd really like them, they're really poppy, and I'm like, I reviewed a Taylor Swift album on here. I feel like the show has evolved to a place where we balance between sort of like, I don't even know if traditional is the right word, but, more common metal that traditional metalheads would enjoy and doing stuff off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And so an album that fuses together various pop styles, rock and metalcore, I'm like, oh, this sounds like it would be interesting. Because here's what I've learned over the 87 years we've been doing this. Okay? Between you and Robert Cooper. Because when I initially started doing the Metal Hammer of Doom, I really wanted a musician to come on here and talk to me about music composition. Instead, I got a singer who's obsessed with anime. And did not play an instrument. But we love Robert Cooper.
Right.
And him and I put out some really good shows together back in the day. They're all lost to time now because those shows are gone.
I've been going through and picking a few off of your YouTube page. You'd be surprised at how many you were able to actually save at one point. So
really?
Yeah, you remember when you did like the big content drop before you knew that those were probably going to go away. You went and grabbed a ton of them to drop them on W2M. So there's quite a few that are still out there. I actually grabbed a few featuring Robert Cooper. I hadn't heard his voice in ages. And
okay.
yeah,
So these are from Spreaker, right?
yeah, this was.
Oh, okay.
This
I know what you're
Blog
talking about.
Talk.
This was the Blog Talk dump to Spreaker that
Yes.
made me have to go up a price plan.
That's right. Yeah, 'cause you put a ton on there.
Yeah, no, it happened automatically. I don't know how it happened without me authorizing it, and I just woke
That's
up one
right.
day and I had all these like alerts from YouTube, like this is demonetized and this is demonetized, and I'm like, and this went on forever, and eventually I got like kicked off YouTube momentarily because I thought I was spamming them. I should go back through those because I would imagine there's actually quite a few that were saved from that. Maybe all is not lost. In any case, the point with all this is that, and these are on my personal YouTube page, right?
Yes, this is on Mark PC Live.
Okay. In any case, what I've learned over the course of the years that we've been doing this, whether it was with you or with Robert Cooper or both, is that if we just do the same kinds of metal albums over and over, those aren't very entertaining shows, and they become kind of dreadful to listen to. Like we might have had, we might have had fun like bullshitting around, but we don't really talk about the music, and the shows themselves are kind of not listenable because we're like, we have nothing to say about this. So when I started picking albums for this year, I was like, I made a commitment to myself. If I can't find something that actually generates conversation, I'm not doing it. I'm not picking albums just to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought this Day to Remember album would actually generate some conversation because of the odd musical fusion that they're incorporating. So the album marks a departure from their metalcore pop-punk roots, with only a few songs falling within those genres, as the album as a whole features more of a pop rock sound. In an interview with NME, the band's vocalist, Jerry McKinnon, went in-depth with the album's sound, describing it as a happier record. It's happy.
Yeah, that's what I've read as well. It seems to be a little bit more positive bent, I guess you would say. And yeah, we'll pick out some tracks here that definitely feel more along the lines of I wouldn't say happy, but I mean it's not your typical metal that's going to just kind of make you want to punch something. No, this is definitely a little bit different.
No, and I'm all about like the happy rock. And I'll tell you what, if you go to Amazon Music right now, you can actually find this album. It's got the Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, but you don't have Amazon Music, you can actually stream the music as part of your Amazon Prime membership. But if you want to dig deeper into the catalog and get into some not Prime music, you should use our link to sign up for a free 30 days of AmazonMusic.com.
Yeah, there's like 70 million songs on the unlimited Amazon there. It's unlimited Amazon Music. It's crazy the amount of music you can find.
Yep, as since we've been doing these, since we've been talking about Amazon Music here on these shows, and I've been talking about it with on the various movie podcasts that we do, I really found like there's nothing you can't find through the Amazon Music search feature. So whatever it is you're into, whether it's a Day to Remember or you liked our Serenia review or Epica or Corpaclani or back in the day Poppy, if you love the Poppy, you can find the Poppy on
I just listened to her
AmazonMusic.com.
album again.
Did you really?
Last week,
Did you find yourself disagreeing with it?
I disagree.
Never
I do
gets old.
disagree.
So go to getamazonmusic.com/W2M network. The link will be provided in the in your podcast catcher, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, it's in the description. Getamazonmusic.com/W2M network. Are you ready to hear some fucking music?
Let's rock and roll.
Music for the people. You know who sings that?
No.
That would be Madonna.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you're singing. It's so funny because I was like, it sounds familiar, but I might as well just say no so I can get the answer.
You know what? Madonna's on AmazonMusic.com.
Does not surprise me. She's
Yeah.
pretty popular.
Okay, cool. We can start now. My thing just loaded up.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I stalled long enough. All right, we're gonna do. There are 14 songs on here, and we like to do the medley now, so we're gonna do a block of 4 songs to kind of get through this album with some fun discussion, but also without dragging this out for too long. I think that's we found that's the sweet spot. So 4 songs: Brick Wall, Mind Reader, Bloodsucker, and the 4th song on the album, Last Chance to Dance, Bad Friend.
Some call it karma, some call it fate, laws of attraction take on new weight. I sit in silence and hope for change, reckless abandon of what we take for granted. No escape, no future, no luck lost on a loser. No escape, no future, ready for the brick Some call it powers of the mind. Bending thoughts, there's space and time. Reading everyone like that, a book you've read 1,000 times. Heard about it when I was young. Finish the sentences on tips of tongues. 6 senses got you seeing all these things I haven't done. But not the only ones. You're laughing like I'm supposed to know what you're thinking, but I don't. I know that this never comes easy. Not much of my style. You're laughing like I'm supposed to know what you're thinking, but I don't. I know that this never comes easy, but I'll never be your mind reader. When I wake up, the cross above my bed hangs like a question mark above my head. My good intentions led me to dead ends yet again, yet again. I try to help you see what you can't see, but your reflection blind to reality, like a shadow running from the sun rising. Finally, it dawned on me. Bloodsucker, you always kill my vibe. Got for bad to worse, and no, it's not alright. Bloodsucker, try to
Fuck it.
You're dead anyway. What?
All right, so what do you think of those first four? That I'll tell you what, that first one jams right off the bat. So good.
Brick Wall, yeah. It's actually the with it being the first track and the first thing I listened to when I popped this album in. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I was really impressed. I was like, okay, these guys they're heavy. It's heavy enough. You can tell there's some very clean production involved here. But yeah, Brick Wall is pretty good. We hit Mind Reader. Mind Reader feels like there's a couple real radio-friendly songs off of this album, and I'd say Mind Reader is up there when it comes to probably, if you're picking one to play on the radio, that has kind of the poppy rock sound, in my opinion. Bloodsucker got stuck in my head. I dug it, but it's not the heaviest thing off of here, but still, it was something that got stuck in my head as I was listening. And Last Chance to Dance, that is actually a very heavy song. And as at the end of the song, it has in parentheses, bad friend. We'll be coming back to this song later on down in the album, which is pretty funny. But yeah, we got some gang vocals in that, and I dug it. I mean, I wasn't completely turned off. Let's just put it that way. I remember initially when I listened to the album as a whole the first time, I immediately gave it, I wouldn't say negative marks, but it just wasn't going to be something that I went back to because of how the rock pop forward it is.
I get that. I will tell you that I played it while I took my kids to go see Chaos Walking over the weekend, and I was playing it in the car, and I was jamming out to this. I was thinking about that. I was reflecting on it, thinking about what am I going to say about this album, and I was thinking about how much I was enjoying listening to it while I was driving around, and I'm wondering if it's an age thing with me, where I find myself gravitating now towards stuff that has. I don't want to throw the phrase "a good beat" out there because that makes it sound like I'm listening to EDM all day long. But more of I find myself really gravitating towards stuff with strong rhythm, and
if you can nod your head to it, it's doing something good. It's doing something for you. Well, I didn't have a chance to finish because, I may have discounted it through my first listen, but I will tell you that repeated listens to this album have had it grow on me. So that's definitely it's definitely a positive note for the album for sure. It's got re-listenability, and if you can listen to it more and actually it start to speak to you, then it's doing its job. So I think we have some strong songs here. These first four songs, like I said, it may leave a bad taste in your mouth initially, but if you can get past, it's got to be hardcore metal, blah blah blah, this may not be the band for you. Go find something else. But this, it's going to serve a purpose. If you like to nod your head and you can just enjoy a song for its listenability, these will grow on you.
Yeah, I think for sure, this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But I think people who might listen to this podcast who are like, why don't they ever cover really heavy stuff? Heavy stuff gets boring. I get bored listening to it. It's not that it's bad or that I'm saying we shouldn't cover it. I just think I gotta mix it up, and I gotta mix stuff like this in there because this, like I said, there's stuff that we listen to and that we're going to review, and I'll find myself to sort of it's just, I think I've said this before, it's just on in the background. It is on in the background. It is, it is filling the air with sound, and that's all there is. I'm not really thinking about it one way or the other. And then there's something like this where I'm I'm tuned in and I'm really enjoying listening to it. So there's the difference.
Very good.
All right, you got anything else? Otherwise, we will move on to the next set of songs.
Well, let's hit the next four.
All right, we got FYM, which was fun to listen to with your kids in the car. High Diving, Resentment, And the fourth song of this particular grouping, Looks Like Hell. Smells Like Chicken.
I sit and wait, counting the minutes just like yesterday. Tracking my miracle, it must be running late. Hit red, return to sender, I can't catch a break. Doing my same old thing. Luck don't let me down, 'cause I paid my dues in spades. Double or nothing now. Well, I guess fuck you money. Well, I guess fuck you money. I need to know what your silence says. It's like I'm trapped on an island in my head, waiting on a hurricane to pass me by. This natural pattern is like a rip current pulling me back in, something I can't escape, a wave that never breaks. A million different voices, so many different sounds. The weight of expectation tries to kick me when I'm down. I wrote this to remind myself the next time I'm freaking out. If I just take a minute to look around and see I reach my limit, I'm on the edge of scared heights. I get it. It's hard to practice what you preach when life is a beach. I'm hard diving. Resentment. Short-term fix for a long-term problem. Can I learn to love these chains? I know I had a point, but now I forgot it. Well, I'm circling the drain. No, I can't stop feeling like every day's exactly the same. With a one-track mind, I don't think I can change. Trapped in memories, stuck on replaying, replaying, replaying. Whisper these wildfire, burning me up, burning me up. A tears for demons on a highway. Lift me up, lifting me up. Yeah, that's why I can't tell you things. What's been weighing on me lately? Something about this changed. Was it me? Was it you? You know I can't say. We're headed two different ways. The silence, it tells me things like the truth. We rode a wave up and down, throwing me all around, thinking we'd hit the ground. Were you well? One more way to know it fast. Off the overpass, looks like hell. Making big mistakes, last two place, looks like hell. If I'm being honest, you're safe in the moment, but lost in the open. I know you too well. The only way out is through ourselves, and it looks like hell.
All right, so my second favorite song on here is Fuck You Money. I bet that's a big shock to you.
Not a shock at all. Let me tell you, that that is actually a really catchy song. I can't help but sing along to that song. And
I was definitely bopping around in the car to that.
Yeah, it's got some acoustic guitar in there. It's pretty laid back, but it is fun to sing. Mm-hmm. It's almost not as fun as Fucked with an Anchor, but Fuck You Money's up there. So, yeah, I really enjoy that. It doesn't surprise me at all. You want me to put it on the list? I'll put it on the playlist.
Ooh, I can't decide because it's either going to be that one or it's going to be Brick Wall.
Oh, okay. All right, well, you can think about it.
I was going to say, which one are you picking? Have we heard it yet?
Oh, I'm trying to think of which one I took because I really did like Brick Wall. Mm-hmm. The other heavier one off of here is Resentment, which we heard there in that block of 4, and I did like that one too. But I think I'm going to go with track 4, which is Last Chance to Dance, Bad Friend. So if you want to take the first track, Brick Wall, I'll take last.
I'm going to go with Brick Wall.
All right, we'll put the.
All right.
We'll put
So
in
another interview with Kerrang, McKinnon states that he wanted to take a Day to Remember sound and take on modern influences with it. He also says that his love for the freedom and collaborating writing process found in EDM and rap resulted in the band getting together and throwing around ideas, which resulted in the band demoing 42 songs. It got to the point where some of the songs they wrote went from indie rock to punk rock to even full tilt heavy. He would also talk about fan expectations and made it a goal to not stray too far from the band's core sound, with some songs ultimately being left out due to them wanting to push their sound in a way that makes sense. See, like, I love this as a concept album of, hey, we went into the studio and said, no rules, just write what you feel. And not everything works, and that's great. So, because I've talked about this in the past, where I feel like some bands are trying too hard for a certain aesthetic, for a certain sound, and it doesn't sound authentic, and I shit all over it. I just shit everywhere. I'm like a monkey,
uncontrollably,
uncontrollable flatulence. No, I do. I there are plenty people who've been listening to the show for a while know that like I can't stand when there's a lack of authenticity in a movie, in a television show, in music. I can't, in people. I've talked to you about that personally. I cannot handle false. I cannot handle people putting up a front and, and trying to be something that they're not. I would rather you be a true shitty person than a false good person.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it comes to music, I would much rather you write a bad album that at least came from your heart, that it just didn't grab me, or maybe it wasn't competently done, but fuck it, at least, you tried. As opposed to, well, let me lick my finger and put it into the wind and see what's popular, and we'll do that. Because that's a go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And this feels, this is kind of my favorite thing. I don't love every song on here, don't get me wrong, but this feels like a truly artistic collaborative project, and I'm interested, I'm interested in hearing what they have to say and how they're saying it, and it doesn't all have to work for me personally, it doesn't all have to work in general, but I give them credit for taking an opportunity and using their artistic, the venue of their artistic palette to put something out into the world for people to give a try. And yeah, I can see why this doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, you absolutely have to give an artist points for honesty and being true to themselves. I always, that absolutely means a lot to me when somebody can put their selves out there and you can kind of get an idea of the motivation that they had to bring the album forward. So, yeah, I mean, kudos to these guys for what, we're halfway through the album here, a little bit more than halfway, and it's, I'm not. There's nothing on here that makes me go, oh, just turn it off. It just it sounds to me, it's radio friendly for sure. And that's not a bad thing. That's not
especially
horrible.
Fuck You
We'll
Money.
call something. Well, okay. Aside from that,
Radulich,
there are
you
some tracks. You son of a bitch. Yeah, well, okay. So there's a few songs on here that definitely would not go on the radio, but there are definitely more that would feel like they belong there.
So I want to share these professional ratings real quick. So, and you can tell this is like all over the fucking map. Like, like this sounds like it was a polarizing album for people. Kerrang gave it 3 out of 5. New Noise Magazine 5 out of 5. NME 2 out of 5. Riff Magazine 8 out of 10. Wall of Sound 5.5 out of 10. And when we come back, I'm going to let you have the last word here before we go to the next grouping of songs. But when we come back, we'll have Jesse read through the reviews that he's found. How about that?
Sounds good, man. That sounds good.
What did you want to say? I kind of cut you off there. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I mean, of the 4, I think I really like Resentment. That's one of the heavier ones off of here. And then Looks Like Hell, leaned more hard rock. It had some spooky kind of. I assume that it was piano in there, and a good undertaking of the 4. So I'm ready to rock and roll with the next 4.
All right, so here we go with the scenario. I feel like I do that every show. Viva La Mexico, Only Money, Degenerates, and Permanent.
Man, I'm wasted south of the borderline. Brought the life to the party. I'm gonna be sorry tomorrow at first sign of light. Medicated with a dosage that's self-prescribed. Happiness that I borrowed and loaned from tomorrow. It's got me rethinking my life. Yeah, we cried so hard and we can't live alone. Just to do it all again, 'cause everybody knows that doing it feels so self-control. Viva la Mexico. I won't be the same when you get back home. Viva la Mexico. It was more than a ride, and now I can't let go. My mama called me and said, son, it's naughty. I'm sorry to tell you, your grandmama passed. Took me back to the moment, watching that sound of music in your living room before you read me to bed. Ooh, I know now, but it did it then. These were moments building up, man. None of us had much, and you showed me what that means. It was only money. Cost me some family, cost me some friends. It was only money. Doesn't define me, I can't pretend. Tell me about resentment, about forgiveness. No matter what that lies ahead. Tell me about judgment, about love is. The family's family till the end. It was only money. My friends are degenerates, but I never change them. Liars, cheats, and hypocrites, not the type for saving. Why do we tend to hurt one another? Dividing up all the books by the covers. Like it ain't hard enough simply being me. Or could I sum you up just by what I see? In reality, everyone's a lot more complicated. My friends are degenerates, but I never change them. Liars, cheats, and hypocrites, not the type for saving. So they say. Wait, it's so permanent. Always rearranging, I can't commit. Fear of a future I can't predict. It's got me laying sleepless at night. The future freaks me out. This is a cycle, often repeated. That's predictable to a fault. It's overwhelming. This process is changing. It's always over before it starts.
Okay, this next segment is brought to you by Grammarly. For you listeners of the Metal Hammer of Doom podcast and of the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, brought to you by the W2M Network, of which we are a proud affiliate, Grammarly is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly everywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. They might have even used Grammarly to write some of these reviews that Jesse is about to read us. What do you think, Jesse?
I would agree 100%. You know, that's a very useful plugin, and I would tell you that if you get the chance, put it in there, because it works on emails, it works on Google Docs, everything.
Absolutely. So to download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W, the number 2, network, M network, W2M network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M network to download Grammarly for free. All right, Jesse, hit me with those sweet, sweet reviews.
All right, so we talked about Kerrang giving them 3 out of 5, so I'll read the last sweeping paragraph here, and maybe we can figure out why they gave it a 3 out of 5. It says, perhaps your welcome is the ADTR record we need right now, rather than the one we deserve. As exponents of extroverted, high-energy, heavy music whose reputation was forged in the live arena, a record with more ballast could have seen them caught cold by the COVID crisis and 18 years of unstoppable momentum jackknifed to a halt. Serendipitously, they'd already recorded one for a world with the time to step back, chill out, and reflect. Easy-strummed closer, Everything We Need, which is coming up, feels like an apt parting promise of bigger, better days to come, designed to be sung back at the stage by fans with arms around shoulders when live shows return. So it says, I know I got you, you know you got me. Here's hoping they pack some punch to go with it. So New Noise Magazine, that was the one that had 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they say, overall, your welcome is mostly radio ready, and that's not a bad thing. Every year, we're seeing our favorite underground bands become more and more commercial. We get it. Long term, it's what they have to do to survive. The key is to make the transition gracefully. A feat a day to remember takes another giant step toward with your welcome. And yeah, I put 5. When I looked at the actual review before I had seen what was in the wiki, because I saw 5 stars down at the bottom, and I was like, maybe they're just using the stars as a separator for the next ads or something, and I'm misreading that. But no, they gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And then melodicmag.com says, all in all, a day to remember of a solid album with your welcome. It is heartfelt, it is creative, and above all, it is unapologetic. There are times when the album comes across as a little dated due to some of its music and themes, but nothing too lackluster. The ride that ADTR takes us on is enjoyable and one they may not need to hear a thank you for. I send them one anyway. And they gave I don't think gave it a rating. That was just kind of like how they sum things up. But I'll tell you, Wall of Sound. So talking about negative reviews, well, negative ratings, I should say. I didn't grab the review, but wallofsoundau.com gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about that. You actually had said that was one that popped up, and so yeah, I don't know if, again, I don't know what came before this. It sounds like a lot of what we're hearing is that where they were born was not radio friendly, and where they're going towards is, which can definitely rub some of our faithful listeners the wrong way if that's the case.
I feel like that happens a lot. Like you develop a fan base with a certain sound, and then you as a band feel creatively stifled and want to do something different, and your fans are like, nope, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck right the hell off. Don't do it.
You go ahead and cut your hair, you hippies, and sell out.
Yep. You go. You don't give us the exact same album every single time. That's going to be the end. We're breaking up with you.
Yep.
It's like, it's got to be frustrating for a lot of artists out there to feel like you you don't eat if you don't have fans.
Yeah.
But
then
fans can be the worst.
Yeah. I mean, is it Ivan Moody? We got to talk to at some point and ask him how, becoming famous just really fucks you up anyway.
8 albums, all complaining about fame. I mean, I know, like, in the movies, like, I don't want to go off too much on a tangent here, but, like, look at what happened with Star Wars. You had a director who had a vision. I mean, there's a whole conversation to be had about you decided to tell a 3-part story and not tell anyone what the story was or not give them strict controls to make sure that everyone was staying on the same page. You just let one of the directors do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Which, as an isolated project, I thought was an interesting idea, but doesn't really work well if you're telling a broad, multi-chapter, multi-movie story.
Yeah.
And that is a whole conversation in and of itself. But, like, if you look at, like, the reaction to Rian Johnson's Last Jedi, and it was one of those deals where, never mind the fact that he was way outside the lines in terms of a cohesive story with what had been set before and what was supposed to be set after. Again, that's a whole other subject. He just didn't do. He also did his own thing and told a really interesting story that a lot of the fans hated because it wasn't what they wanted. And he caught a lot of shit for it. And it created this divide and a lot of hard feelings and an entire YouTube channel dedicated to tearing down Kathleen Kennedy. Just everything that... Midnight's Edge used to be so good. Now, literally, if they put 5 videos out, 4 of them are about Kathleen Kennedy and Gina Carano.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Somebody got hurt.
Yeah, they are jilted lovers if I've ever seen one.
Wow.
But that's the point I was making. Like, to bringing up the Rian Johnson thing, Rian Johnson made an interesting movie, an artful movie in a lot of ways with The Last Jedi, which half the people who saw it didn't appreciate because they wanted Luke Skywalker to be a big ass kicker, and he just wanted to tell the story he wanted to tell. And again, what do you do? Which master do you serve? Your own need for artistic expression, or the fans that pay your bills?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Those fans weren't there in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Your inspiration, your muse was.
Right.
And I think a lot of artists who try not to turn their back on that really struggle with that divide of, like, which way do I go? I want to put something out that people enjoy, but I want to be true to myself.
Right.
And yeah, so here we have a perfect example. You already talked about it earlier about how these guys were honest and they're putting music out that's true to themselves, and we get split reviews.
Yep.
We get a 2-star out of 5. We get a 5.5 out of 10.
Did the Angry Metal guy weigh in?
I don't think he did. No, he's usually right there at the top when I do the search. I'll double check when we do the last 2. If he did, I'll step back in and just kind of revisit it. But I don't think he had. This seems like it may be something that would be a little far out from that site's vein, but we'll find out.
Yep. All right. Let's go ahead and finish up for the evening. We got our last 2 tracks on the album here. We've got Re-Entry and Everything We Need.
These nights are long, you're in my cage. Everyone says that I act my age. It's been so long since I felt my bed. 20 on ice, 75, 75, 75, just to see if I'm dead or alive, dead or alive, dead or alive. 'Cause I know I got you, and you know you got me. We got everything we need. We got everything we need. I know I got you, and you know you got me. We got everything we need. We got everything we need.
Jesse Starcher, as long as I have you, I have everything I need.
Everything we need.
When you heard Degenerate before, did you think about me? You're like, Mike, yeah, my friend's a degenerate.
It's funny because my note for that song is Mark Radulich. How in the world? No, it was funny because we had a song earlier in the album that was about backstabbing friends, and one of the lyrics to that song is, to Degenerates is that I'll never change my friends for who they are. And then we wrote a whole song about how pissed off they make us as well.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's good stuff. So I went to Angry Metal Guy. They do have a search engine there. I typed in a day to remember, and they told me to get lost. I've never seen that before from a website.
What?
No, they don't have anything over there. I looked, nothing there. So,
hang on, I gotta play something real quick.
All right.
This is an impromptu thing. This is, again, the service that I'm using here makes recommendations, and I happened to see one, and so I followed it, and then it brought me to this other place, and oh my God, Jesse, we just have to listen to this song.
Oh boy, okay, all right.
Von Florida ging sie spazieren und aus die Trog hätte keinen gestört. Nur eine einsame Weg für eine Lady, fiel bald in Ohnmacht und war sehr empört.
8, 9, 10, na was gab's denn da zu sehen?
Es war ihr Ex-17-Teenie, Honolulu stand ich in die. Er war schick und er war so modern. Ihr Ex-17-Teenie, Honolulu stand ich in die. Ja, der gefiel ganz besonders den Herren.
1, 2, 3, na was ist denn schon dabei?
I'm gonna need to find a spot for this album. So, that's Stormseeker.
Okay.
And they're a pirate metal band.
Yes, I think we've talked about them, or may have even. We reviewed an album by them?
No.
Okay, I recognize the name, so we must have talked about them in the past.
Okay.
They are. What is this album?
Okay, so
I
this is
recognize
Guns
the song,
Don't
by the way.
Cry. This is Guns Don't Cry, which came out, according to the service, January 29th, 2021. I don't know how I missed this. I really wish the people that did the Wikipedia page that I follow would put fucking pirate metal on there. Holy cow, this is fantastic.
Yeah, what? Okay, so that was Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini.
Close. Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Honolulu Strand Bikini.
Honolulu Strand Bikini, okay.
Okay, so you give your final thoughts here. I'm putting this on the calendar somewhere.
Well, we've covered them before here.
We haven't. There's no way.
No, I'm sorry. I was giving my final thoughts. You focus on the calendar.
Yes, sir.
We covered pretty much our final thoughts already on this album about how honest it is, about how radio friendly it is, and I will tell you that, like I said, it gets better with repeated listens. If you sit down and you listen to it at first and you're like, this ain't for me, give it another shot, because there's most likely going to be something that speaks to you, and you're going to probably nod your head a few times. I will tell you that if this album was played by my daughter, if this was something that she played in the car, I would not tell her to turn it like I've told her to do with so many other songs that she's played. There's been plenty of albums where I've said, no, okay, can we find something else, please? I have some here. Let's listen to let's listen to some Lordy, and we'll be able to. But no, I agree. A Day to Remember is going to probably it's caught my attention. We'll just put it that way, and I'll be checking out their next album for sure.
All right. Next week is our St. Patrick's Day special. We will be reviewing Fiddler's Green, 3 Cheers for 30 Years. In the meantime, you can check out our AEW Revolution review. Happy New Year! Our review of Raya and the Last Dragon. Comic stripped Extraction, based on the graphic novel Ciudad. Tomorrow we're reviewing SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run. Next week, in addition to Fiddler's Green, it's all St. Patrick's Day all week long. Everyone's going to kiss each other because they're Irish and drink Guinness. So on source material, we've got Grimm Fairy Tales, a St. Patrick's Day special from 2013. Much to Robert Winfrey's chagrin, we're going to be reviewing The Irishman because St. Patrick's Day, get it? The aforementioned Fiddler's Green, and then breaking from the theme, there's Jesse being a rebel. He's got an Unspoken Issues coming out for Transformers number 80. How about that?
Yeah, that's right. Last issue of Transformers. Check it out. Me and Dean Compton back again. Dean Compton hasn't been on the Unspoken Issues airwaves for quite a while, but oh man, when he gets on there, he is energetic and fun to listen to. So we had a good time talking about it. He schooled me on some stuff. I had to learn about some Transformers, Mark. I know you know your Transformers, trust me. But Dean Compton came in and was like, this is the Pretenders, these are these guys, and this is that guy. So I learned some stuff. You guys can too.
Sounds great. All right, folks, that's our show. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. For Jesse Starcher, I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.